President Tinubu must not dishonor UN verdict on Nnamdi Kanu's case as Buhari did, IPOB leader's lawyer, Ejimakor, announced the news in full. Barrister Aloy Ejimakor, the special counsel to the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has warned President Bola Tinubu against dishonoring the United Nations Human Rights Council's opinion on Kanu's case as former President Muhammadu Buhari did. Ejimakor said that Nigeria is duty-bound to implement the decisions of the United Nations in its black letters and spirit, adding that the Nigerian government under former President Buhari was expected to do so promptly, but he dishonored the UN. So if President Buhari dishonored, what makes you think that Tinubu will also not dishonor? He recalled that in July 2022, the United Nations Human Rights Council, through an opinion issued by its working group, directed the then Buhari-led Nigerian government to free Kanu and accord him a pathway to compensation for his infamous extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria in June 2021. Ejimakor stated that the Council, in the 17-page opinion, stated the working group considers that taking into account all the circumstances of the case, the appropriate remedy would be for the government of Nigeria to release Kanu immediately and accord him an enforceable right to compensation and other reparations in accordance with international law. According to him, as a background, the working group of the United Nations Human Rights Council is a quasi-judicial body that has the legal mandate of the United Nations to receive and adjudicate human rights petitions against members nations of the UN. Accordingly, his decision, diplomatically called opinions, are legally binding on all members nations of the United Nations, including Nigeria. He further noted, in addition to Nigeria being a bona fide member of the United Nations, this very UN decision on Nnamdi Kanu is primarily predicated on the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, by which Nigeria is legally bound by virtue of its ratification by an act of the National Assembly under Section 12 of the Nigerian Constitution. The thing is, I don't know if they want to release Nnamdi Kanu, but I don't really know why they are keeping him there. They really need to let that man go. It has taken too long now, and it is becoming overdue. It is doing too much at this point, because what has this guy done to you people? What has this man done to you people that you refuse to release him to his families? He has children, for crying out loud. He has a wife. How do you expect his wife and children to survive? It's not as if he's dead. If he's dead now, they would have at least, probably forgotten about him and just remember him maybe once a year or anything like that. But this man is not dead, and you kept him away from his family for a very long time. What? Why? Why? People should release him and let him go. To be sure, ratification is a means by which a nation makes itself subject to international laws and treaties, and by the provision of Section 12 of the Nigerian Constitution and a plethora of decisions by the Supreme Court of Nigeria and international tribunals with jurisdiction. Ratification makes every ratifying nation, including Nigeria, subject to whatever is ratified. This is non-arguable and inviolable. Ejimakor stressed that it goes without saying, therefore, that as a bona fide member of the United Nations and a treaty-bound nation, Nigeria is subject to decisions issuing from the United Nations. Thus, Nigeria is duty-bound to implement this decision in its black letters and spirit, and it was expected to do so promptly. He said that the advanced copy of the opinion, which was issued on July 20, 2022, was released to him on July 23, 2022, and that the cover letter bearing the opinion indicated that the working group forwarded the opinion to the Nigerian government on July 22, 2022, yet former President Buhari failed to comply until he left office. I wonder why that man is like that. I really hope that Tinubu listens this time around and lets this man go. Let him go, because if, God forbid, I'm really saying it, that God forbid, if anything happens to that man in DSS custody, World War IV is going to happen in this country. May we not say war in this country. They should allow him to go and meet his people. It is not by force. He wants to separate. His people want to separate. Leave them alone. Let them go. Is it by force? Let them go now. What is the problem? Why are you keeping him there? What has he done? What exactly has he done? Nonetheless, it is never too late to act. Even as Nnamdi Kanu has for 3.5 years endured the horrendous rigors of a detention that is bereft of any legal justification. Therefore, unlike a misguided Buhari, a wiser President Tinubu can do the right thing by freeing Nnamdi Kanu without further ado. He does not need any court order to do so because the matter has transformed from the legal or judicial to the political, and as the saying goes, the buck stops at the president's table. I hope that he listens. I hope that his advisors will advise him well and say, please let this man go. Release him for his people. He has tried. Since 2021, people have kept him in detention. For what? For fighting for the freedom of his people. Please, they really need to let him go. They really need to let him go. Mwashim Chukwemeka says, if Nigeria let them continue to keep Mazi Okeke Oyendu Kanu in prison for ages. But one thing is sure, Nigeria will never know peace until justice is done. And for their information, Biafra self-determination is an ideology and it can never be stopped as far as Igbo race is concerned. It has come to stay and there is nothing anybody can do about it. Kelvin Okachukwu says, UN is toothless that can't harm any of his corrupt countries she is feeding from. What did they do to Buhari for not listening to them? Exactly. If they did not do anything to Buhari for not doing what they said, then the same thing will happen. They will not do anything to Tinubu. And who knows if that one too wants to listen. I don't think he wants to listen to, because if he really wanted to listen, he would have done it since he came in. All the time he was removing fuel subsidy and all those things. He would have said, okay, please release Nnamdi Kanu as well. But he didn't do that. Komanoke says, Tinubu and cohorts only believe in alliance with the international community, an organization in seeking for loans to loot and not in aligning with the international law, budging on human rights and respect for the rule of law. That's just the truth. But really, they need to allow this man go. Chukwuma Richard says, if they like, let them do the needful. At the end, Biafra must come. K-Code Ezenwata says, I don't think that there is a president to hear or to read here in Nigeria, but only have rules instead of leaders. God bless MNK. Tajudeen says, is UN a law court? Is it the UN that will run Nigeria for us, or must we take order from UN? Abdulazan says our president is too busy for matters that cannot add values to the country's economy and 2027 elections. That is what they are bothered about, to all of them. One man even said that the reason why they are making him the minister is so that he will go and take over Kanu for APC. That is their job. That is their main priority and focus for now. To make sure that Tinubu wins come 2027. That is their plan. One Tochukwu said, holding this man for nothing will destroy Nigeria completely. Believe me, a disgraced country that doesn't obey their own court order, they don't do. But yeah, they want somebody else to obey court order. They'll say he's disobeying. Are you obeying? You are not obeying. You are not obeying any court order. Sunday Kumai Jr. says, I always said we have a lot of problems to handle in Nigeria, and I don't think keeping Nnamdi Kanu in detention is Nigeria's problem. It's not though. Tell them to release this man and let him go, to avoid further problems, because God forbid if anything happens to that man, it is a serious problem that they are calling for. My listeners, over to you. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, to share and subscribe. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.